growing up as a kid, I remember loving just watching wrestling. Back in the day, not the wrestling now, but back in the day, back when we had people like Andre the Giant, the British Bulldogs, we had Randy the Macho Man Savage, the Iron Sheik, and those were, I mean, for me, those were the glory days of wrestling back in the day. And of course, the most famous of all of them probably was Hulk Hogan.
When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside.
I mean, everybody loved Hulk Hogan. He was, Hulkamaniacs. So I was, something that he wrote caught my attention on Facebook. He posted it back on the 6th. Again, Hulk Hogan, he's not perfect. He has his, he has his craziness and stuff, but that doesn't take away from what he says, the essence of what he's saying, which is very interesting. So I just wanted to share this with you. He said, in 3 short months, just like he did with the plagues of Egypt, God has taken away everything we worship. God said, you want to worship athletes? I will shut down the stadiums. You want to worship musicians? I will shut down civic centers. You want to worship actors? I will shut down the theaters. You want to worship money? I will shut down the economy and collapse the stock market. You don't want to go to church and worship me? I will make it where you can't go to church. And then he goes on and he quotes 2 Chronicles 7:14, where he says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. And he continues on by saying, maybe we don't need a vaccination. Maybe we need to take this time of isolation from the distractions of the world and have a personal revival where we focus on the only thing in the world that really matters. That's Jesus. Again, just going, through what he said. He doesn't speak for the church or anything like that. But what he says there is it has some interesting truths in there. And so obviously we need a vaccine. Obviously, doctors are working around the clock and trying to get a vaccine out to as many people as we can. But what he says is, the way I'm thinking is, even though we have this time of chaos and this time of just craziness where we're cooped up in our homes, we can't go out to the movies, to the stores, we can't do, we're not living life as normal. But that doesn't matter. That doesn't take away from what's most important in our lives, or what should be most important in our lives, which is our relationship with Jesus Christ. Even though we can't go to church, even though we can't go to a physical building and, have time of church, that doesn't really matter, because, you and I, we're the church, and wherever we are, we can take time out to focus on Jesus, which is the most important thing, is our relationship with Christ. And spend time with him, spend time in developing and maturing in our relationship with Christ. And so we don't have to wait to go to a building to live in revival, which he's talking about. He says, let's take this time of isolation and let's draw closer to God. Instead of panicking, instead of worrying, instead of, thinking about, oh my God, this world is collapsing. You know what? That's we don't know what's going to happen. But what we do know is that God is still on his throne, and he still deserves to have our worship and our praise. And that's something that we should focus on in this time that we are isolated in our homes. So just wanted to throw that out there to you guys, and just some interesting thoughts from Hulk Hogan, you Hulkamaniacs. So all right, God bless.